and the response has been good. We hope that we can take that feedback and continue to improve the work we have done, while we can continue our core activity of elevating the water stress and offsetting freshwater demand.
We're going to start the session in 30 seconds. Okay.
Are we going to start in 30 seconds?
Yeah, 30 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful.
Yeah.
So is Vijita going to kick it off?
No, Vijita is an IASC, so.
Oh, that's an ISC. Oh,
yeah,
okay. All right, great.
So, Vinay, are we ready to go? Are we waiting for someone?
Yeah, we can get started now. Going live on Facebook.
Fantastic. Great. Okay. So tell me when we're going live.
Yeah, we're live now.
Give me like a 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the virtual TiE Startup Showcase with the winners of the IoTMatrix 2020, a program run by TiE Bangalore. So to kick us off, I'm going to invite Venki to say a few words about the program and what we can expect to see from IoT for the next year or so. Over to you, Venki.
Hey, thanks, Madan. I think, it's great to see you again and kicking off 2021 at the IoT Forum's first, series of webinars, talks that we normally give every month. We do like a couple of them every month as part of the IoT Forum, and it's great to kind of have all the winners of the IoTMatrix, to kick off the 2021 with a successful note, right? So it's great to see all of you again. I know we have winners, in the innovation category, in the scalability category, and a lot of special mentions that we gave to, half a dozen great startups and upcoming startups. We believe that all of them are going to do fantastic because they're all doing products, and that's the passion, and that's the growth and focus area of the IoTMatrix, to see how we could support the innovation that's coming out of entrepreneurs in India, specifically focused on the product ecosystem and IoT. So without much ado, I wish all the winners a great 2021, and IoT Forum of India is all here to support you. And we wish you all the best once again. And over to Madan for a very exciting session.
Thanks so much, Venki. For all of you looking out there in the audience at this program, please do follow Venki and follow IoTMatrix. Follow the work of TiE Bangalore for all those of you who are in this space. So today we have a range of very interesting speakers to share with us some of their hard-earned insights on what's happening in this space. We have Surajit Sinha from Snehix. We have Gautham Pasupuleti from Biodesign Innovation Labs. We have Rituraj Shailendra from Icosys Technologies. We have Amrit Om Nayak from Indra Water and Ashish Lachwani from Steradian Semiconductors. So first up, we have Surajit Sinha, who is the director at Snehix Tech Private Limited. Surajit Sinha comes from the Steel City of Durgapur. He has a BSc from Durgapur Government College. He also graduated from Haldia Institute of Technology, Vidyasagar University. He was earlier with Wipro, HP, NDS, and Cisco. In 2018, he joined a medtech startup, and now he has launched his own dream startup. We also have with us Gautham Pasupuleti, who is the CEO and Managing Director at Biodesign Innovation Labs. We're going to hear much more from him in the discussions that follow. We also have with us Rituraj Shailendra, who is the CEO at Icosys Technology. He's a petroleum engineering graduate and an MBA alumnus from CIBS in Shanghai. He's a very well-traveled person internationally. His interests are in technology as well as in culture. We also have with us Amrit Om Nayak, co-founder and CEO of Indra Water. He has an MS from the University of Washington in Seattle. Currently, he specializes in decentralized and efficient management of waste and energy in India. The organization won the Urban Water Challenge by the Imagine H2O Challenge at the World Water Week 2019. We also have with us Ashish Lakhwani, who is the founding director at Steradian Semiconductors. Ashish is a graduate of IIT Madras. He was at Texas Instruments, where he wrote the book Ultra Low Power Radios, published by Springer. He also holds 10 issued patents and is now currently the co-founding director and chief business development officer at Steradian. So we have an outstanding range of speakers over here from very different sectors, all connected, of course, with the IoT thread. My first question for each one of you is, you're all now a part of the IoTMatrix program. What was your experience like last year with the IoTMatrix program? Let's start off with Surajit. Surajit, please go ahead.
Yeah, so we were actually so busy building our product that we almost forget that when we applied for this IoTMatrix award, and then finally when one day we get a call and we were recognized as one of the most promising startup, it was really encouraging. I mean, for guys like us who has left a stable job behind and started something on their own, encouragement like this are the fuel to go ahead. And that is what is exactly happening with IoTMatrix. We are getting recognized, and also today, as we can see, we get a chance to interact with Yourstory, which is a dream of every startup. So it has been really an uh, excellent journey till now. And we hope because of IoT, because of TiE, we are able to be known to many people, and that is really helping us with our growth. You're in mute, Madan.
Thanks, Surajit, for setting the note. See, I'm still out of practice for the events for the new year. Anyway, thanks so much for setting the stage on IoTMatrix. We'll get into the stories of each of these startups in just a second. But let's now turn to our other speaker to get some of his insights on IoTMatrix. Gautham, can you share with us what's happening with you and how this IoTMatrix has worked for you? Gautham?
Thank you. Yeah. So I think we have got a lot of support from a lot of the ecosystem partners like TiE, IoTMatrix, and BIRAC and other funding agencies have really supported startups, especially the hardware startups, to really grow over a period of time from idea stage to a developing it to a prototype and to taking it to market. So it's a really great opportunity to be part of this program and be recognized as one of the winners. We're grateful for the opportunity. I think we had an interactions with few other members. I had an opportunity to speak with one of the members from Qualcomm Design India Challenge. We were supported by Qualcomm India as one of the top 10 startups last year, 2019 and 20. And one of the other members were also previously got awarded by Qualcomm, Ashish. Yeah, so I was speaking with Pushkar, and he has mentioned about Ashish. It's great to know that everybody's connected. Yeah.
Thanks, Gautam. How about you, Rituraj? What is your story in getting interaction with TiE IoTMatrix, and how did that help you, Ritu?
First of all, namaste to everyone. Thank you for having us here. Okay, I think whether it is TiE Bangalore or whether it is Yourstory, what I can think is that there are two things which we have seen tremendous amount of help from these agencies. The first one is appreciation. When we are in a startup, it is not always easy to maintain your tempo. What happens is that we lose our concentration, our motivation. But since the time that we have received this award, this success, this TiE, what we are seeing is that there is a renewed sense of motivation in every one of our employees. We are thinking that we are doing something great. So that is one big difference that I can see before and after this award, this IoTMatrix award, this Yourstory campaign. The second thing is that we also got a chance to meet other people. Like when I'm talking about IoTMatrix award, there are 12 other winners. And what we did was that we had a common group for that. So to know about the groups that are coming up, to know about the startups that are coming up, the ideas that people have, how they want to change India or world at a whole, that is something which you don't see in a normal situation. You try to find people who have thinking about the country, the impact they are going to make. But these places, these platforms, something which is always going to help people like us and the other founders as well, how we want to go forward and how we want to collaborate.
Thanks, Rituraj. Let's hear now from Amrit. Amrit, would you like to share with us some of your experiences interacting with TiE IoTMatrix? Amrit?
Sure. Thanks, Madan. And as all of them have rightly pointed out, this platform gives us a kind of visibility, which is really motivating for all of us, and it kind of validates the work all of us are doing. Whether the challenges or the difficulties or all of this, in the midst of such challenging times, it is really a welcome change for everyone. But at the same time, it also enthuses us to know that there are like-minded problem solvers. It gives us a chance to understand each other's work, which normally all of us are so engrossed in our work in day-to-day lives that we hardly really get a chance to understand what each of us is doing. And in a platform like this, we get to talk to each other, find out about our solutions, and realize that there are areas where synergies exist, where collaborations can be done. And probably, I think, in any kind of deep technology work that we go forward with, this kind of synergy, collaboration, and synergies and platforms which needs to be exploited, better used. This is the kind of benefit that we get from a platform like this. So I'm very thankful for that.
Fantastic. Amrit, how about you, Ashish? Any last few words you want to add up in terms of how your interaction has been with IoTMatrix so far? Ashish?
Sure. Quick two things, Madan. I think as everyone mentioned, definitely it helps in the journey of any startup to have some spotlight on. An occasion like this suddenly, gets you on that stage, and it's completely invigorating for the whole team, right? And also helps to bring out the kind of work you have been doing for a worldwide audience, and that's something it's appreciated by any startup. The second part of it is for a like a deep tech startup, it's always difficult to explain out what you exactly are doing to the media or to the VCs, right? And for an e-commerce company, it's very easy to give out their business model or what exactly is their technology or what they're trying to do. For a company like ours, it gets difficult, and platforms like these give us that opportunity. So definitely look forward to it.
Thanks, Ashish. Once again, all those of you out there in the audience listening to this program, please get in touch with TiE Bangalore for any more initiatives regarding your IoT startups. Speaking of startups, let's get into some more details now with each of our speakers here today to hear about where did they start, where are they in the journey today, and what's up ahead. So let me begin with you, Surajit. Can you tell us about what problem you started to solve in the beginning, what's your journey so far, and where are you right now? Surajit?
Sure. I'll take a few minutes on this. Yes. So our solution, we called a blackboard solution, is for the school, where we are making a combination of a hardware and a software, where we envision that will make the school paperless. It's a tablet with a paper-like screen and a tailor-made software, which will help the school doing their day-to-day activity with the help of technology. Now, currently we are in the stage where our MVP has been done. We are done with our MVP, and we are trying field trials on different schools. And next, before doing the actual customer deployment, we'll spend some time on the stability, security of our product. It all started in the year 2018, October, when I left my job with Cisco and joined a medtech startup company. I was always very much involved with helping my son with his studies, and I have minutely observed him that what happens in the school or what happens at home when a child goes to school. Even I have attended all his parent-teacher meeting, and I have tried to interact with the teacher all the time, many times, and try to find out that how a school operates in a day-to-day life. Though at that time this was not in my mind, but later it came into my use. So when in 2018, I realized that this is one place where technology has not really invaded properly, because there is no such solution for the schools. I mean, the obvious solution is to digitize things, so making the notebooks and the books digitized. But then putting them in a conventional TFTP paper tablet is only going to create a new problem. So I thought that we have to make something unique. So at that time, I started buying some equipments from China and Japan, and using Raspberry Pi, we made a full working prototype of a tablet on which we developed our software. Now, seeing our progress, the company from where we bought, they let us showcase our solution in a trade fair called DIDAC 2019 in Bangalore, which happened in Bangalore. There I came to interact with many people who are related to school, and I get really positive feedbacks. So that is when the hardware company approached us and asked for collaboration and said that let's make a solution together. Since that time, Snakes was founded and a team was formed. And in March, the prototype was ready. We also own the Karnataka. We became one of the winners of the Karnataka Elevated program. We were able to get some grant out of it, and that is when we started. Soon after that, the lockdown happened, and in the last few months, we have really worked hard to come to the stage where our MVP is ready.
Thanks so much, Surajit. Gautham, how about you? What are some of your steps in the journey from the product to the solution to the market? Gautham?
Thank you. Yeah, so we started out with the problem statement with the shortage of ventilators, leading to mortality and morbidity, especially with the current context. We understand there's a huge disparities between what the private hospitals and government hospitals has and doesn't have. And in 2017, my brother and I, we and a few other engineers, we went to a lot of these hospitals and we found what is there in the hospitals, especially the focus of respiratory illnesses. And one of the things that we found was that respiratory illnesses is one of the major reasons for mortality. And in India, especially with the population of 1.5 billion people, almost 1.3 billion people, we need to have a technology that is accessible to all in terms of healthcare, especially when we're talking about patients who needs emergency ventilation or patients who have to be transported to a higher hospital from rural hospitals. And we also went to a lot of these pediatric intensive care unit and interacted with a lot of the doctors. We understood there was a neonatal and pediatric mortality under 5. So that's when we designed and developed medical devices that can have a huge impact for the developing countries, with affordability and accessibility one of the core factor in the design. So we developed products such as Respirator and ResPap, which are currently in hospitals deployed in the emergency care and post-operative care and in the pediatric intensive care. So the solutions that we have developed is in the care of respiratory solutions, mainly catering to the emergency and post-operative care and transport ventilation. The pediatric product is an oxygen therapy solution, which is for children under 5 having pneumonia and respiratory distress conditions, which really is an alternative for low resource healthcare settings that can save lives. So we have got a lot of inspiration from our mentors, who has like Dr. Anup, who has really encouraged us to pursue a lot of the product development process in terms of after COVID pandemic started, we collaborated with a company called Remedio for mass manufacturing. And we did a lot of work in terms of deployments in hospitals in collaboration with a lot of government support, as well as from support from ecosystem. And we have licensed part of our technology to one of the companies, Remedio, for mass manufacturing. And we've also met a lot of these hospitals, doctors, and we've deployed in hospitals to really make sure that it can serve the purpose. And the vision of the company is to really bring a solution that can have an impact at scale, which is mainly what we are doing to really build solutions that can save lives, especially for the bottom of the pyramid.
Thanks, Gautham. You really are in a very sunrise sector now. Health sector is one of the most important ones in the years coming ahead. How about you, Rituraj? What is your story? Can you share with us where you started off and where you are today, Ritu?
Definitely. See, we all travel in trains, right? The whole of India travels in trains. Rather, 2.3 crore people travel in trains every day in India. That is such a mass number, but people don't think about it when they are thinking about startups. So that is what we thought of, and we have been doing some work with Indian Railways through our sister companies for the last 20 years. And then we went to them and we tried to ask what exactly is the issue that they are facing. Because when you have data of 2.3 million people every day, how can you not have information about it? They told us, our trains are late. Sometimes it is about people, sometimes it is about processes, sometimes it is about something else or a combination. We have the data, but we don't know why is this train late and how or what can we do to actually mitigate this. We thought, okay, let's try to do something. And we thought that we'll come up with something which can be installed on the traffic lights, the railway traffic lights to start with. It will collect data and it will relay it to a station where the sensor data can be linked to the server data. The server data is already there. And now we are linking two types of data to actually make an information system where we know that if a delay happens, what exactly is the reason of this delay? And when we are talking about the reason of the delay, when you keep doing this for a month, 2 months, 6 months down the line, you can easily make out what is the problem which is happening in a current track. So we started this with one single division in Eastern India. And we got the support of those people because we have done projects with them through our sister companies, of course. And in terms of IoT, this was the first step from their side also. So we are actually very helpful. From their side, they have been very helpful in sharing us what all data that is required to us and how they can help. Now, the big problem was that railways is such a big industry that we are talking about enough data to make 100 different information things. But what can you make out which will be actually useful? So the first thing, as I told, was about the traffic light automation for finding out whether the trains, the delay or anything is because of this problem with the man, machine, or the process. The second way, we want to go into some revenue sharing models with railways itself, which is a better idea for them, so that we can go and rather than getting some investment from them as a project investment, we rather go with an idea where we share the revenue. Now, we are very different in this case from any other people who are working in this domain. In one big different way is that most people, when they go for startup, they want to have something which will attract investors. Of course, that is the whole purpose. Most people, I'm not saying all people, but most people, they want to be rich and they want to make an impact. These are the two major factors. We thought that probably railways is something which can help us do both. It is not only that it will have an impact, it will have a scalability, which is very easy to go for anyone to develop. Now, talking about the products as of now, so we have already developed the product and it is already approved. So what we have been doing is that we have been doing it in small steps. And now in the next 3 months, we are going for the bulk implementation of this product, this sensor-based device, for all the different traffic lights in one division of India. Once that is successful, okay, there are 70 different divisions in India and 18 zones. So we have been in talk with around 4 or 5 of them. We want to take this idea and go to different divisions. Why I pride myself that this idea has been given an award on scalability is that because we feel that as a company, we can do impactful work and still make money. See, I'm not saying that we are not going to make money. For me personally, I have mentioned it a few times that success is very important. Okay, but I want to do it with an impact. So that is the whole idea of ICOSYS venturing into the sensor-based model for Indian Railways. The product itself, we want to be implementing in one division in the next 3 to 6 months, starting from 3, and it will take around 3 months. And then we go on for the different divisions across India.
Thanks, Rituraj. That's a very good statement of the problem and how important it is to be able to connect with the real stakeholders, and maybe working with government can be a bit tougher, but you managed to go ahead in any case. How about you, Amrit? What's the problem space you're in and where have you come so far, Amrit?
Yeah, thanks, Madan. So our journey actually started when we were doing our masters, and me and my co-founders, we are actually from the mechanical field. We were working clean energy systems. We were trying to offset the carbon footprint, work with wind, solar, everything that was the most, which appeared to be the most important thing at the time. While we were doing all this, we had the good fortune that we got a chance to compete in a competition, which asked us to retrieve as much of clean water as possible from a boiler plant. And when we started doing this, we realized we know nothing about the chemistry that goes on behind it. We know nothing about the environmental science that goes on behind it. So what happened to us is that the only thing we could do directly is find a solution which does not employ the conventional approaches, which actually, and that is the very backbone of what we have done today. We were working in clean energy systems, so electricity is something that we understood. So we decided, let's solve this problem electrically. That is how we actually entered into water. It was not planned. And it just happened to, we just got onto the path and then we have been following through. Now, while working on this path, we realized a conventional water plant, it uses a lot of chemicals, it uses a lot of bacterial media, it uses a lot of these consumables. And all this water is collected from, huge distances. You're collecting water from different buildings, different houses, bringing out, pumping all this water, bringing it to a central source. So you're losing energy, you're consuming a lot of energy, you're probably having losses, you have to maintain this infrastructure. A lot of it is not automated. So we decided if we could do this at the source, recover this water, and just like some of the best systems across the globe, we could give a major part of this water right there for non-potable reuse applications or even potable reuse applications, we could make a massive difference because you eliminate so many redundancies along the way. Your infrastructure goes down, the manpower goes down, the number of systems that need to monitor these things goes down. An entire logistics chain of chemicals and bacterial media goes down. So that is how we decided to do this electrically. And when we did it electrically, we were able to treat water as it, kind of flows through a pipe. It's a continuous process. Water enters our solution, pretty much a plant. So to give you an analogy, You have seen large HVAC systems and you have seen a split AC. We have converted a large HVAC system into a split AC with our technological innovation. Imagine massive water plants which have 80% lesser footprint, almost 50% lesser operating costs, and that much of carbon footprint offset, which can go into any existing building. In a developing country like ours, in fact, a lot of these countries, we don't have space. You walk into your own apartment building, somebody tells you that you need to upgrade a capacity or you need to start putting up a sewage treatment plant or an effluent treatment plant. The entire housing society would have a large meeting and everybody would have their hands on their head because it was not planned. Neither do we have the money for it, neither do we have the time for it, nor are we well equipped to meet the evolving compliances. This is where our solution is able to come in. It takes 9 to 10 months to build a single large plant. We are able to do it in 30 to 40 days today. Now, while we were solving water pollution, while we were recovering all this water, we realized that there was a fundamental, missing link here. And this missing link was data. You need to really understand what is my usage pattern of water, what are the pollutants in it, what is the water balance, how much am I generating, how much am I leaving out, where are the losses happening. Unless we are able to do this all across the supply chain, we will never be able to build a solution that is efficient and is able to give the kind of returns which will make these solutions more viable over the longer run. The simple reason that large, anything with relation to energy or water, we have to go for a PPP partnership, or we are unable to go for large, third-party investment kind of models, is because the IRRs of this or the paybacks are absolutely not feasible. The plant will have 70% downtime. Most of the water plants in this country have 40% downtime. Now, how would you recover money in that?
Yeah, correct. Thanks. Very well explained, Amrit. Those are some very impressive numbers and very impressive problem descriptions over there. Let's now turn to Ashish. Ashish, what space are you in and where have you come so far in your journey? Ashish, thanks.
Thanks, Madan. I co-founding team at Steradian and all of us come from RF wireless background. So we have worked previously for semiconductor companies like TiE, Qualcomm, all across the space, technologies like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, FM, cellular technologies, whatever goes into your cell phones, right? And infotainment systems. So that was our background till 2015 before Steradian, and kind of worked in that space, each of us for more than 10 to 15 years and did many solutions for these companies, which, proudly to claim that, I mean, any kind of a cell phone in last 4 years, which came out having a Snapdragon was paired up with the IC, which we had worked on, right? So coming from a space like that, we were looking at, some of the evolving problems at that time, some of the harder problems the world was facing. And of course, automotive is something which is, going through that tectonic shift right now, where a lot of interesting things are happening. And all of us were, of course, really amazed or thrilled at looking at that small Google car with that dome on top and trying to see, okay, they're trying to run like a self-driving car, but why is it not happening, right? People are talking about it. A lot of companies claim they have achieved that, but what's stopping them? So one of the things we realized is reliability, safety, right? And some of the technology barriers which exist on such things is what was gating it. These problems are really hard, what the world is trying to solve. And apart from the cool factor of it, of course, that, the thrill of watching a car drive its own, there is a big sort of, safety reliability side to it, which, is like a bigger driving factor behind all these things. So that's what, when you look at some of these European countries specifically, they have specific bodies which drive such mandates, which define how the safety rating should be there and why these kind of technologies are needed in next 2 to 3 years for the, the world to be a safer place to live in. So kind of the challenges, and this was the point where we decided to take a dive in at Steradian and see what difference we can make, given our backgrounds where we were coming from in this RF wireless space. So it's kind of the stepping stone for us to begin things at Steradian. Of course, when we started, it was we were opening a Pandora's box, and the world was never the same again in the last 5 years. It has been like an amazing journey and very different experience, I would say, from when we started to when we really got on to doing some of these things. So one of the things we realized last year itself, I mean, of course, in the initial 4 years, we were able to come up with our own semiconductor. I'm just holding the IC which we developed in-house here. If you can see between two of my fingers. It's very small. So I mean, they say that's one of the best things that, if you can't show what you have done, that's the best thing you have done. So from there on, we got into a point where we were able to get few lead customers as well for the technology, and also got into the software side as well, where we were able to develop a software which can, take this to the end line as well, so that making it radar as a sensor, which can be integrated into the, like a sensor fusion platform, as they call it. Of course, the holy grail is like a self-driving car, but the way these systems are even used today, they are used in all kind of driver assistance systems. So any kind of a safety critical point which happens in your vehicle, the system will be able to even take control, or the emergency braking, cruise controlling, and so on kind of feature set as well. Last year, we also realized we were looking at the space, how to take this technology also in some other areas as well. And traffic monitoring, interestingly, came as one area where, these systems are used today. So on the highways, you have these radars installed with cameras. So the radar identifies that the speed of vehicle is crossing the limit, and the camera can take the number plate and generate a ticket for you directly. So for us, I think the aha moment came when one of the NGOs approached us and said they would just want the system to be installed on the highway, not just to generate a ticket, but just to flash the speed. Because as a human being, when we are driving, we see the same speed which you're seeing in your odometer, but you see it like flashed in, big screen, that you're driving at 150 kilometer per hour. You tend to slow down, right? It's a human nature. And I mean, it's amazing how these kind of systems help, create better places, which we may not have started with as our primary goal, but we see they are getting used in such places. So we were able to take our system at such places in India as well, and they are getting installed on the highways for such applications now.
Thanks, Ashish. That's a good combination of technology and some behavioral insights about how people react in these kinds of tech-enabled environments. Thank you for combining these two very different areas together. We have just about half an hour left. I want to get more into now some of the challenges and opportunities up ahead. So I want to ask each of you to focus on maybe just two challenges you're facing right now and how you plan to get over them. How about you, Surajit? Why don't we start off again with maybe one or two challenges you're facing and what you can do to get around them? Surajit?
Yeah, right. Yes, right. So in our team, all of us are our technical guys, and we can make a product quite easily. But most of us doesn't have an experience of selling a product. So that is where we are trying to develop some contacts which can help us that. And certainly TiE, Bangalore, and IoTMatrix, Yourstory is a platform where we're looking we can get some help. Second is to make a product really stable and outstanding. We need manpower. And in turn for that, we need funding. Now, funding is never easy, but to instill confidence in the investor and so that they take interest in our company, we are trying to do reach our end customer, trying to do field trials, trying to get positive feedback from them, so that we can really instill some confidence in the investor and they take interest on us.
And how about you in your case, Gautham? What are some challenges you're grappling with, and what can you do to get ahead?
Sure. So luckily we had got support from, initially we got support from Karnataka government, and Camtech and Elevate 100 program has helped us really with the product development process. In addition to that, BIRAC, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, has supported us for the clinical validation and also for product development. So, and Qualcomm was very helpful for our product journey in terms of the our product use case and the applicability for different use cases. And one of the things that we found was that the support from Qualcomm Design India Challenge, and from BIRAC, and from the grants that we got from Elevate 100, the Prayas grant, which is a prototyping grant. It for a medtech product, for a medical device to come to a commercial stage, from an idea stage, you really need at least from a point of view of a product which is a novel, very innovative. It's something which has not been developed before, and which really solves an unmet clinical need. What we have developed was something really solving a problem which is saving the life of a patient who is having a respiratory arrest or a cardiac arrest. That motivated us to develop the product, and we got all the support, thankfully, with the support from Government of India and other funding agencies that I mentioned. And right now we are at a point where we are looking at going for a large scale production. So we are looking at going to markets in the US and other countries. We have patents filed across countries and published. We are looking at licensing our technology, and also we are looking at for other markets, and we're also looking for distribution channel partners and different partners for commercializing the technology. So the challenge is really to focus on different strategies at the same time execute it. So we're also looking at from a fundraising point of view. We should also have a strategy to have enough investment to go for a large scale production. That's what we are at a phase right now, to go for a scaling up our solutions across India with the right partners who share our vision to save lives of patients, at the same time make healthcare accessible to these hospitals that we are trying to cater. One of the things is to really partner with the distributors and through other channel partners, and also work with the government to really validate and do paid pilots. So government of Karnataka has really helped us a lot, and government of India from the BIRAC and the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology. So right now the challenge is to really focus on solve the hard problems like scaling up and making it access across different markets, starting with India, and save as many lives as possible. Yeah.
IP and international expansion. Very impressive, Gautham. Fantastic. How about you, Rituraj? What are some challenges, a couple of challenges you're up against?
Sure, I'll take three if that is okay with you. Okay. The first one, which I think is one of the most important facing any of the startup that we all have here, is the risk awareness of employees. See, most times what people do is that they're thinking that the investors, they are risk averse. But the bigger problem that we are facing as startups is the employees are risk averse. So once they join, they are looking at the package which is there, the compensation which is there, and then after 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, they leave. So this continuity is broken. So probably this is where something we are looking at people who can help us expand this. So we are in a phase where we are talking about in the next 3 years, we want to be pan India, 70 different divisions. That is not something which can be done by a team of 10 or 15 people. It has to be done by at least 500 dedicated people. So the first thing which we feel is very important is dedicated people who are there, who are okay to have some risk in their life. The number two is the working capital. As I told you that our project is a big lead project. So we are talking about, we started talking with railways in 2018. Now we have developed the product and we are talking with them to get it implemented. And maybe in another 2 years, we will be going into pan India. So it is a span of 4 years that we are talking. And in this 4 years, this whole working capital thing has to be done by whatever funding we are able to generate through friends and family or through angel investors. But this is something which is not going to sustain. One thing which I touched upon earlier also is that this is an area which does not have a lot of investors directly. It is because of the government relations, or it is because that it is something of a mass. But there's a point that this is something which is going to make a big impact on the country, and it is going to make big profits for everyone. Even people like me or my colleagues, my co-founders, they were working with something else. But because we believed in this idea that this can be something which will be helpful to the country and will be impactful in our personal lives as well, including our finances, we joined this. We want our audience and also the investors to believe in that in them. And the third thing is we are talking about having a collaboration. So as we said that, like Surajit also mentioned earlier, so we are talking about a team of technical people for his team, but we are talking about some other team. But there may be a possibility that when we are going with some investors or some people, we need mentoring, we need some support in terms of people. So if there is someone who can actually help us go into this, into the BD part or into the tech part, a recommendation or an introduction will be a great help for any company. And I think these are the 3 points which I wanted to make clear.
Thanks, Rituraj. In your case, Amrit, what are some internal, external challenges you face? I guess in your sector, maybe regulation is also an issue. Amrit?
Absolutely, you have hit the you have hit the bullseye. So we are actually looking to work with regulators to standardize water incentives in lines with how carbon credits work, because not only should people have to pay for what they're generating or using, but they should be charged based on the utility, based on the kind of pollutants that go out. So this will go a long way in ensuring sustainability and at the same time encouraging water savings. So this is and this will take time, because understanding complex usage patterns and deciding, putting in place a structure that can efficiently monitor it and make it very possible for actionable decision making. So that is the first challenge that we are facing, but we are working and we are pretty optimistic because there are a lot of regulations which are coming in, compliances are going up in the country. So we are really optimistic about that. The second major challenge is ensuring consistency and quality in production scale up. And I think that is a major thing for us because we are in a hardware space and we are pretty much building industrial plants day in and day out now. When we're doing that, we have to work with multiple vendors because it is not possible to have your own production facility for everything. It is not possible to bring everything in-house. While we work with these things, working with multiple stakeholders and ensuring that they understand the newer technology that's been built, understand the importance of adhering to certain standards because it is not possible anymore to start importing everything. So to maintain this quality and ensure that you're able to cater to different industries, because let's say you're working on the textile side where a little bit of course control might be okay, but if you're dealing with a pharmaceutical industry, they just cannot afford to have any kind of fluctuations. So this is another major challenge we are working with. But one of the things we have recently realized is that there are factors which we cannot control. But we are trying to overcome that by improving our tech and simplifying things, pushing a lot more of our work to the software and control side such that standardized hardware can achieve the same kind of results. So that is pretty much the major challenge that we're working with right now.
Thanks, Amrit. You're right. The perception of risk is very different in different sectors and different stakeholders. I think you're going in the right direction, though. How about you, Ashish? In your case, what are some challenges you face? You're in a very IP-centric domain. What are some opportunities and challenges that you face here, Ashish?
Sure, Madan. So two things maybe I can highlight with regards to the challenges we face. One, of course, is being a company from India and we are competing with some of the global giants out here. So, access to the market or being able to showcase our technology solution out to the world in a global market. So that's something we always struggle with. And we believe that, that's one of the places where, forums like TiE and other events which can showcase us aptly are heavily appreciated. The second place where we struggle, of course, is just in an Indian context when we want to sell these solutions, which are today even used by authorities, traffic police or traffic monitorings and so on. We find a heavy resistance because they are typically open to a solution which comes with a tag from built outside India, whereas we are able to sell it outside India but unable to sell the same thing over in India sometimes, just because they are more receptive to products from outside India. And that's a very catch-22 situation for us. So yeah, if there were more awareness and if there was a way to make the authorities or the regulatory bodies more receptive to solutions which are developed locally, that's something which would be really, really helpful for us.
Thanks, Ashish. We have time for just two more questions before we wrap up in the next 15 minutes or so. So I want to ask each of you now, we have a big audience out there of hopefully some investors and corporate techies and so on and so forth. So what are some plans that you have in the future and how can the audience get involved with you? What's your ask? What would you like investors, government, corporates, academia want to do with you? Surajit, you want to start? You're on mute, Surajit. Yeah.
Yeah, naturally, like every other company, we like to grow. Our future goal is definitely to grow and become a really big company. And with our solutions, where we bring the virtual world close to the real world. I talk mainly about technology because business, if we make an outstanding product, I believe the business will surely follow. So with our solution, we bring the real world close to the virtual world, where we let user upload documents onto the internet by writing and not by typing. So our future goal is to make a portal which will be a kind of combination like Stack Overflow and LinkedIn for the student and the teachers, where all of them can come connect, collaborate, share their idea and do it. And we believe that it's time for India to own a product like that, and we are confident that we are going to do something like that. Yes.
Thanks. How about you, Gautham? What's your ask and what are some of your plans?
So right now our plan is to really focus on the distribution for our ventilators across different states in India, looking at government hospitals, tertiary care and secondary care, and also private hospitals in the tier 2, tier 3 hospitals. And we want to work with the ambulance service providers and also work with the emergency department, post-operative care, and the transport ventilation segments in the hospitals. So we are really looking for some passionate investors who wanted to work in the healthcare and support us with the next our production phase. So impact investors are investors who are much more familiar with with the hospitals and with the government side. For example, last year we were one of the finalists for Ayushman Bharat PMJ, and one of the things is that we have now in contacts with the government of India's National Health Authority and the Startup India's program, where we were finalists. So we have a pilot opportunities that we could really get access to hospitals, and similarly for government of Karnataka and so on and so forth. So we really wanted to deploy our solutions across India in the ambulances and the hospitals, in the ER, emergency care. And the way to do it is to start the production and scale it up through multiple channel partners. So for us, the investment that we are looking at is anywhere between $1 million to $3 million to scale our large scale manufacturing and scale up to different markets. Yeah.
How about you in your case, Rituraj? What's your journey looking like ahead, and how can people out in the audience get in touch with you?
Sure. So as I told you that we are already done with the product phase, and we are now going into the mass production and going into the implementation for one division. So that will be taking place in the next 3 to 6 months. So for the first next 2 months, we are going into the production phase, and we are going into BD with other divisions. So as you know that this is a very, very specific target that we are going for, only Indian Railways as of now. If we want to expand, it is only in this area, but with different divisions. That is not possible for us without more people. The BDO itself, it takes a lot of time. So we need more people. And as I said, that there is a lot of requirement of working capital in this. So we are looking at investors who are willing to invest in government organizations supported startups. And we are also thinking of this as a big business. So to give you a perspective, we are talking about one division of a project of being around 5 to 10 crores for one single project. And we are talking about 70 divisions with not much competition. So we are looking at anywhere between 300 to 500 crores of business in the next 4 years. Okay, that is one part. The second part is that we are talking about something which people have not thought of, or which people have not thought of investing. Let's say like this. So we are thinking to have people on board who either they are investors or they are employees, but they are aligned to our goals, what we are thinking. And this is only the first step. The second step, which we have already started working on, which I was talking about earlier, is the revenue sharing model, because this is something still where the government has to pay us and then we have to do. But we are also in touch with railways, where we are in second stage of negotiation about the project, where we'll be sharing some revenue with railways. And again, we are talking about 200 crores in the next 4 years. So as a company, we are talking about making ourselves and our investors in a billionaire, a unicorn group in the next 2 to 3 years. So if you are willing to be a billionaire, a millionaire, invest in us at the right time, and probably you will be happier rather than going and investing later.
Thanks, Rituraj. I like your ambition and the targets you're setting for yourself and the audience as well. How about you, Amrit? What are some bold visions you had ahead of you, and how can people get involved? Amrit?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. So geographical targets, we're expanding pan-India. Our presence was strong in the western zone and the southern zone. So we're expanding pan-India, especially the north and the east right now. In terms of technological targets, the next generation water treatment reactors, where we start doing non-contact electrical transfers in our reactors. So that will be a massive step forward. Pretty novel all across the globe. The third thing will be in terms of the sectors we are operating in or we are catering to. We were doing water treatment and water pollution treatment, at the same time recovery of water. We have entered air purification and disinfection. We are also entering water, energy recovery, which is from waste to energy as well as hydrogen. We have made very significant inroads in this, and this year we'll be bringing out all these systems. So that is with respect to the exact growth plans. We will be expanding to Southeast Asia somewhere late this year. In terms of the kind of investors or people we are looking to, a lot of these areas are deep technology areas, which obviously involve a lot of risk. But at the same time, these are in areas which have sufficient amount of demand. And we have been fortunate that we have been able to give our solutions for this demand, and people have the need for such things. So going forward, we would encourage people who have a vision along these lines, especially water, drinking water, green hydrogen, going forward with, and we would encourage them to be a partner with us when we try to take our footprint outside India.
Thanks, Amrit. Very impressive ambitions also. How about you, Ashish? You also are looking at global markets. What are some of the roadmaps you have ahead of you, and what can the audience do to get involved with you? Ashish?
Sure. So, of course, we are scaling on our IC operations semiconductor side. We have few big customers whom we are fielding for 2021. At the same time, on the software side, the same hardware which we have today, we are leveraging it for more and more markets. One of them is on the healthcare side. So that's your contactless heart rate, breathing rate monitoring, and so on. So imagine, a device in your room which is able to figure out for elderly healthcare if a person is standing, fallen down, needs help, a heart rate is normal or abnormal without a camera actually looking at you, right? Which is like a privacy invasion issue, typically what we face. So imagine applications like that where radar is coming into more mainstream now. So of course we are looking forward to, if there are people in the audience who are come from any embedded hardware, software backgrounds, any students out there who share a similar vision of doing something cool technology work and so on, yeah, can definitely get in touch with us, and would be nice to have some people alongside in the journey.
Thanks, Ashish. We have just a few minutes left. So I'm going to ask each of you one last question, which is, we are now in a new year, actually a new decade. This is the 2020s ahead of us. So I'm sure a lot of the audience would want to know, what are some tips, insights, lessons that you can share with founders? So I'm going to ask each of you, maybe just 30 seconds each, share 2 tips for other founders from your experience, which might help other aspiring founders. Surajit, you want to start? 2 quick tips for the audience, for the founders in the audience. Surajit, you're on mute again.
Sorry. So if you have an idea, then you have to showcase to that world. Then first spend few months developing a prototype of it. Whatever if in your mind, make a prototype of it. That is when you can show to the world that you are really serious about it. Because unlike big companies, just speaking about the idea won't work. So that will be my only tip for the aspiring entrepreneurs.
How about you, Gautham?
Yeah, I think one thing one thing I've got to know over the past 4 or 5 years is that passion. If you're really passionate about solving a problem at scale, and you're inspired to do the work that it's trying to benefit the larger society, and you have to really network with a lot of people to get a lot of new ideas or new technologies, what they are working on, and also get the ecosystem, get involved with the ecosystem, like workshops, and try to go to conferences and try to get meet more same mind people. And one of the things is that focusing on the specific area is really important in terms of building a technology, focusing on and planning, organizing ourselves, and also planning the whole how you're going to do it for next 5 months, 6 months, what you're going to do today, the task. And so you'll have to be more disciplined and also focus at the same time, and also get involved, network with people, and really get to know what you want to do. Yeah.
Thanks, Rituraj. From your experience, what are some tips, advice, suggestions you would give for the founders?
Sure. I think my advice is more business related rather than tech related. So the first thing which I want everyone to do in any type of startup is that most times what we do is that when we think of a problem, we come up with a product and then we find the customers. Don't do like this. If you're a small startup still waiting for your first funding, first find the customer that you want to target. No need to target them immediately, but find the customer first and then develop the product. This is, I'm talking about companies which are starting up. I'm not talking about if you have a big funding on the back of your head. The second thing is always have a business person with you. You never know when will be the right person coming across and who will be the one who will be able to help you. Tech people, business people, if you go work and hand in hand, only then we can succeed. The third thing is in India, we have this tendency that we don't take risks. If you're not a college graduate, a fresh college graduate, take risks. A complete salary, a fixed salary is only for college graduates. After you graduate from your college, you go and join a company and take 30,000 back home. If you want to be successful in terms of money, in terms of lifestyle, take risks.
That's very good advice, Surajit. How about you, Amrit? Any comments from you?
Very few things. I'll just ask people to be bold this year, take risks, and please persist. And most importantly, the problem you're trying to solve, the problem that you're really passionate about, it is really worth it. The journey is worth it. So don't be afraid to fail 99 times and maybe even 100 times. So that is all I would like to say. And everything else falls into place if you're just sticking to it.
Fantastic. How about you now, Ashish? Any concluding words of advice, some gyan for the audience?
So two things. So I mean, always think of that minimum viable product which you can field a customer with. That's one very important thing. And second part of it is always work. I mean, choose something which you are good at, and the entry barrier is high, right? So yes, the initial task will be very tall, but eventually it will pay off.
Fantastic. Very nice. Ashish, let me now try to sum up this whole discussion in just 3 words: technology, talent, and traction. All of you have shared some very good insights on how you must have a finger on the pulse of emerging technologies, but you also need talent. As you mentioned, you need people who are diverse in different sectors, who are willing to take risks and so on. And you also need traction in the market, eventually, some business acumen, some deals with regulators, and so on and so forth. We're almost out of time now, but I want to ask Vijeta Shastri to give us the vote of thanks. Vijeta is the executive director of TiE Bangalore, and he's been one of the driving forces of this initiative for the past N number of years. Vijeta, Happy New Year to you, and any words of farewell advice? How can people get in touch with us at TiE Bangalore? Any words from the audience? I also noticed some questions coming from the audience. Unfortunately, we got no time to answer the questions, but thanks to those of you who are putting your contact information there. We will connect you to the speakers afterwards. But over to you now, Vijeta. Vijeta, you have the last word. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much, Madan. And one of the input of question that came in was Madan and all the rest of you folks, both the guys who do the speakers and the headphones, hardware company. A lot of funding has come in for them. So I think that was the thing, saying that there's always hope, right? Because everyone says IoT hardware companies it's much more difficult for us to get funding. So that was a vote of thanks and also a vote of confidence that hardware IoT startups will get something great. And guys, one of the reasons why I came in late today was I'd gone to the Indian Institute of Science, and they have a center over there, and we met the center head over there and met the team as to how can we do more for all hardware and IoT startups. Software SaaS startups, Madan, they grow and they're more glamorous, isn't it? But the IoT hardware startups will take a longer time, but are solving really big problems for the nation and for the world. Whatever we can do from TiE Bangalore, and Madan, you have been a great support, not only for TiE, but also with the work that you do with Yourstory and all the sessions that we do. We want to just make sure that we bring the spotlight onto the real people in the ecosystem, and that is the founders and entrepreneurs. Loved the fact that you summed it up, the technology, the talent, the traction that you want to get. And what can we do for the founders? How can we get them in front of more and more people who are the enablers, the ecosystem players, the accelerators? So happy to do that for you. And thank you so much. I don't want to take up more time. It's 5:30. We can still continue if you guys have something very, okay, Madan, is there an ask that you guys want? Okay, you must give that to us, right? Because they have taken part in IoTMatrix. They're also going to be, treat you like our members, like our family, like our community. So anything that we can do for you, we